Hi, everybody, and welcome back to The Power of Words. And we share today the power of Makenzie Raine's words. Makenzie, welcome to the studio, and thank you for being here. I would love to say I want to introduce you as an influencer, but you, to me, seem like an ambassador for so many things. I would love for you to tell us about what you do and how do you manage to fit all of these amazing things you do into your life, and where did you begin? Where did you begin? Let's start with that.
I'm gonna be honest. I do a lot of really random things. I picked up a lot of hobbies along the way. I started originally with modeling when I was about 4 years old, and then worked with my first agency when I was about 7 or 8, and then started getting into dance a little bit. I was a ballerina for about 15 years, and recently got more into acting, and also became a Twitch streamer, which has been what I've been the most focused on recently, is a lot of streaming video games. So it's kind of been like my main sources of work as of the last year.
Wow. And you're originally from Minnesota.
Yes, I'm from
And
Minnesota.
you moved here.
Yeah.
What was the transition like?
Honestly, it was a lot of a very big culture shock, I'll say that. The Midwest compared to West Coast with just everyone knows how LA is. It's very, I don't know, I guess extravagant's the best word to describe it. And compared to my smaller hometown where I literally worked on a farm and went to a regular public school, and then I come out here and there's just a lot of like the glamour, but then there's also the darker side of LA. It was a very big transition, I'll say that.
What was your support system when you moved to LA? Because a lot of young people that move to LA have a really hard time settling in, especially when they've come from overseas or from another state. How did you settle in, and what was your support system? Who did you surround yourself with?
I'll say my parents were definitely my biggest support system. While they're far away, they've always been very supportive of me moving to California. Ever since I was younger, they always knew by the time I was about graduating high school that I would be here and needed to be here. So they were two of my biggest supporters, along with honestly my management team, and they have been so helpful with the transition and helping me meet people, etc. So yeah.
Have you made friends?
Yeah, I've been starting to make a lot more friends. I've started to kind of finally establish a group. I definitely struggled with making friends back home because I was the only person in my general area that did social media and influencing. So I was kind of an outcast because of that. But then coming here, I have people that I finally know that have a very similar mindset to me. They like to work and they like to be creative and just be more themselves, where back home I never had that. But yeah, I finally kind of have like my little group of people that I can trust.
Every young person wants to be an influencer or a blogger these days, and it looks glamorous and beautiful on Instagram. Do you want to talk a little bit about the pressures of having to be that positive person all the time? What are the struggles you have behind the scenes?
Oh God, yeah, there's a lot with that. I started social media when I was about 12, so I've definitely been on it for a while and had a million ups and downs while being on social media. There'd be times where I'd be getting ready to stream and I literally had a panic attack or something, like maybe an hour beforehand, but you get on and you have to kind of play a role to some extent. You know, people don't want to watch someone who's complaining all the time or always talk about their problems. They want someone who's uplifting and helps uplift them. So it can definitely be hard to kind of get on social media and act like, oh yeah, everything's perfect, everything's great, but then you have like this whole list of real life issues going on behind the scenes. And I've definitely gotten better at managing it over time to where I can excuse myself and let myself be real with my audience when I need to be, and also give myself a mental health break if needed, but still be able to prioritize my work and be able to kind of put on a good show for everyone, you know?
So you're kind of an online therapist in some way.
In some way,
You're making people happy. You're bringing them the joy and the happiness and the experiences. Who helps Makenzie? Who is the uplifter for Makenzie?
To be honest, for me, my biggest uplifters, besides obviously people I know in my personal life, have been other creators. Being able to meet other people and just relate a lot in the way that we all kind of collectively agree that we all have our own issues, but you still have to kind of put on that more positive persona. That's been super helpful. But also just watching other people. I found other streamers that I really enjoy watching, and their content in and of itself is enough to like really just help me get into the right mindset to be able to film my content. So it's kind of been a big thing.
That's amazing. What do you do for downtime or to read besides your friends? What else do? You said you take care of your mental health. How do you do that?
Honestly, the gym has been a huge thing. I got really into lifting within the past year. I used to kind of do it more for looks and stuff. I would be like, oh, I want to be like skinny and look good, so let me work out. But now it's more of a mental health thing. I'm like, oh, I feel stressed. Like, let's go to the gym. Let's maybe go on a run, do yoga. And then also working with my horses, that's been a big thing. I started working or volunteering specifically at a horse rescue about a year or two ago. And whenever I'm stressed out, I go do that. I just spend time with animals, and that's been extremely helpful and relaxing for me because it's so different than being, online and having to be entertaining. I can just literally sit outside, no phone, no music, no internet, nothing, and just sit with an animal that I just talk to my horses. They can't talk back, but they're listening, so it works.
That's one good thing, that they can't talk back. But yes, I believe animals are the best therapy, and we have Belle sitting here with us. Yes. She's my form of therapy as well. You've very recently become an ambassador for the power of words, and to talk about positivity and to talk about uplifting people. And really, with the power of words, the power of 7 is to pick your intention for the day. How do you want to begin your day, and how do you stay focused? What would you say is your word today?
Honestly, my word, I'll have to say, is probably magic. I honestly am a very big believer in just kind of always walking around like you literally are like magic. I am a big person who I grew up being bullied, for example. And then as I got older, I used to be like, I don't know, when I was younger, I used to be very self-conscious. I always thought no one liked me. It just a lot of teenagers go through that phase. And then once I got to about like 17, 18, I finally was like, if I just walk around like I am the it girl, it just with very positive energy, people really do start reciprocating it. It works very well. So I'll say magic is probably my word right now. I feel like I walk around like I literally have this like magical aura. That's just what I do.
But you do. We all do, right? And the way we created the words is really, purple is for magic. Purple is the color for magic. But we are all magic. We walk the planet, we walk, we talk, we look, we dance, we're happy, we're sad, and all of that is this one individual. And you carry an energy. And if you're able to bring all the positivity to the surface, it's almost magnetic. And I always say, especially try it in a confined space. Yes. Believe you're magic. Believe you're a miracle. You're the one and only of the kind on the planet. So exactly. Just believe you are magic. And the energy you put out is magnetic. I do believe that.
Exactly.
What would be a message you'd give to young, I want to say teenagers wanting to be bloggers and influencers? And let's talk a little bit about how do they deal with the negativity that comes across sometimes? How did you deal with it, and what would you advise now that you've been doing it for so long? I'm
going to be honest, now negativity doesn't get to me. I did learn to accept that these people that are typing mean comments, it's either jealousy or they're just looking for a reaction out of you. So now I'm at the point where I don't let it affect me. Now, being on social media since I was literally in middle school, it used to bother me a lot. I would have full-blown breakdowns over this, which is something people forget to understand, is that, yeah, you're typing these comments and like you just send the comment out there, you don't think about it ever again. But the person reading it does think about it. I know I used to personally go back and read these comments constantly, and then this person who posted the comment literally put their phone down and go about their day, but it seriously affected me. So I see kids now that really badly want to become influencers or vloggers or TikTokers, anything like that. And my biggest piece of advice is just be prepared and understand that it can be a very amazing, life-changing experience and a really good lifestyle, obviously, but that there's going to be plenty of challenges, and you're going to have to just really try to get thicker skin and try to understand that, like, don't let other people hurt your I guess, energy. Don't let other people bring your energy down. You need to just keep going with it. And also, like, I mean, to anyone who doesn't want to be an influencer either, it's like, just don't always put so much negativity on the internet. I know it's so easy to, because like I said,
hiding behind it.
Yeah, you're hiding behind it, and they're taking their own negative emotions and putting onto you. So whether you're wanting to be an influencer or you're just wanting to just be someone who just indulges in social media, just stop being so negative. I mean, I see a lot of drama nowadays, and it's always about drama. And I just don't understand why people can't just take a step back and understand that we're all human, and to just be a little bit nicer to each other. It's not, you know, it's not that difficult. Empathy, yes, exactly.
We need them to have empathy, and empathy is feeling with the heart of another or understanding what someone else is going through. And if you need to be negative, just don't say anything.
Exactly.
Keep it to yourself, because you're not in their shoes. Get on screen and see what it feels like, I think is what we want to say to people that put out negativity.
Exactly, because everyone's learning and growing and being on the internet.
And they make mistakes.
There's a lot of teenagers who are younger, who are like 13, 14 years old, and they're getting canceled, quote unquote, or getting just torn apart for small things that they do wrong. But I'm like, at the end of the day, they're still learning, and they just happen to be in a position where they're learning in front of millions of people, which is very stressful. So that's where I think people just need to kind of give some of these people a break and be like, okay, they're learning and going through life the same way you are, but they're doing it through the lens of fame. You know, they have all these people watching it and reporting it, and news people discussing all the negative parts of it. So yeah, empathy is definitely a huge thing that I think people need to just start learning more, honestly.
And sometimes I think when people keep putting out negativity, they also impact the mental health of the person they're being negative to. And there've been a lot of stories, a lot of sad stories about how social media has actually taken people into a deep, dark space. Have you experienced that? Do you know anyone that has experienced it? And you know, because I think what I'd like to really talk about is how we can be responsible from our negativity towards people trying to either make a career out of it or just trying to express who they are on social media.
Yeah, I know I definitely have a lot of personal experience with letting social media negatively impact me, being a young teenage girl, and even I bet you could probably relate to some extent. Growing up on social media, where you see all these like very beautiful girls, they're like, you know, skinny or whatever, anything like that, you tend to compare yourself a lot. I know I did that for years. I still struggle with it. I think everyone does to some extent. And I will say, I think, how do I word this? But yeah, I don't know. I think
it's the power of your words. Use your words the way you want.
Yeah, I think it's just like, I definitely had an issue of kind of excusing myself and letting myself sulk in my negativity. I would see these girls and be like, why can't I look with them? And I would let myself sit in that mindset for days. And I think people need to kind of take responsibility and understand that, like, okay, you can stay in your negative mindset and let yourself keep being negative and let yourself just sit in it, or you can try to grow. Like, what are you doing to fix it, basically? Yeah. Yeah,
it's really hard, though, when someone says something negative to you, not just necessarily on social media, but when someone criticizes you, it keeps playing back in your mind. And I think if we talk about being more positive to people, understanding where people and why people say things, that's understanding their mental state of mind for a reason. They've been either nasty or been rude. You know, I think we need to pause for a moment and step back and understand why they've said something or why they've reacted a certain way. And it's so easy to sit here and preach about that, but I think it's just the repetition and the reminders that I need to remind myself sometimes not to react too quickly when someone's negative about something or someone is angry about something. I just want to understand that maybe they're going through something that we don't get. Now, a very interesting thing. You started off as a child model, so to speak, and then went into acting, and you're doing all of these different things that's really new in from a technology perspective. Tell us about all the things you're doing, because it seems like, do you think that this is a new career direction for you, and is this where you're going to grow?
Yeah, so I started, like I think I mentioned this a little bit, but the Twitch streaming, I mean, streaming has been around for a while, but I think especially in the past year or two, it's gone to a point where people are making millions of dollars off of this. It's insane. It's grown a lot. And there's now like other platforms you can stream on. More people are doing it. I mean, people are streaming podcasts and TV shows. People are streaming guitar lessons. It's being used for everything. And I do see Twitch streaming for me being something that I want to keep doing for the rest of my life, honestly. I know recently I've been looking into trying to actually compete in video games because I've been playing video games like Fortnite, for example, since I was like 12. That's when it came out, I think.
And you're 18 now.
And I'm 18 now, yes. And yeah, I see Twitch streaming being something I want to honestly make one of my main sources of income, make it one of my main jobs. I mean, I personally enjoy doing it. I started doing it more like 6 hours a day now. And I know it's something that people really do see as a full-time job at this point. There's people streaming for 12 hours a day, and that's their job. And I kind of want to go into that a little bit more.
Wow. Does it seem like a lot of pressure to be on technology so many hours a day? I'm asking this as a parent. My concern is always about kids that spend so much time on technology. For you, it's a career. But for someone else, what do you see as the downside of so much immersion in technology?
I honestly, there's a lot of psychological aspects with it. I mean, for one thing, you have apps like TikTok. A lot of short form content has become extremely popular over the last year. And I think for one thing, the short form content is making it very hard for people, especially in my generation, to stay focused anymore. If you notice, like everyone in my generation is very squirrely and very all over the place now. And I think it has a lot to do with being in lockdown. And then you just have all this short form content that's like 10 seconds or less coming out. So I feel like everyone, especially in Gen Z, is like very impatient, all over the place, very scatterbrained now. And I think also spending a lot of your time on social media has made it to where socializing in person is extremely hard. I know it is for me. And I think a lot of other people around my age range can agree with that, especially. But yeah, I think, I don't know, there's like days where I literally, even though it's my career, I just want to chuck my phone out the window and be like, I never want to touch a phone ever again. It is a lot. And I think especially for someone who it's their work, there's days where you literally want to just take a social media break and not have to look at it at all, but you can't do that. That's not an option. People nowadays, with social media being right at your fingertips, they're constantly wanting content. So you can't really take a break. That's not really an option. There's no like days off. It's 24/7.
That's really not good either. What do you think about there being a rule, like a national rule to, okay, let's say everyone finishes work at this time and you switch off your phone for 3 hours. That's it. Every single day, those 3 hours, because if you bounce around, then it might never happen. So say, 6 to 9 in the evening, everyone, you just get off your social media. Would you be able to do that?
Oh, yeah, 100%. 100%. I honestly, if that was a thing, I would so do it. I already try to implement hours of my day where I'm not on my phone. But then the problem is that then, because I spend so much time on my phone or on social media for my work, the hours that I am dedicating to not be on my phone, I'm like not really even socializing with my friends because I'm like so drained from being on social media all day. You literally just want to like stare at a wall. You're just like not doing anything. But I feel like if there was like 3 hours a day where I could just do anything but have to touch social media, I know I personally would love that. I don't know about how other people would feel about it, but I would.
You're your own boss, right?
Yeah.
So let's say we can try doing that.
I've been trying to. It is really hard to stay consistent with it though, because I will say I'm a guilty, I go down rabbit holes of just content sometimes, and next thing you know, it's been 2 hours and I've been sitting on my phone just doing nothing. So I've been trying to get better about implementing time throughout my day to not be on my phone. It is hard though. It is really, really hard. People are not kidding when they say that social media is like an addiction. It is very, very difficult.
I have a question about content on social media in particular. There are pictures and there are what people actually say. Do you think people read anything you put into your comment or content when you post? Are people actually reading it, or are they just scrolling through to look? Because sometimes I see people and they just go, I'm not big on social media, I have to say. I need to be. Unlike you, I need to be on it more than I am not. But I'd rather just, connect with people, and I work with people. I like working in person. But a lot of the time, people are just scrolling through, and someone's taken a lot of time to put thought into the message connected to the image. But people don't read it. They just like the image and move on. Is that offensive?
I think, honestly, there are some times where I think it is. Like, there was a post I did a while back where it was something very meaningful for me. It was something about mental health, and I was talking about it, and like half the comments, if not more, were being like, "Oh, you look so beautiful." Like, well, that's not what this is about. You know, it's not.
Or the heart,
And
or the...
yeah, exactly. Sometimes I'm just like, okay, maybe put a little, like, I put all this thought and energy into this caption, which obviously it can sound kind of stupid to say that, but put a lot of energy into this post, and I want it to be something meaningful. And then like all the comments are talking about my looks. I know, especially as a girl, that can be very annoying to deal with. But yeah, I think now at this point, people just kind of are zombies scrolling through content. I know I even catch myself doing it, just liking everything I see, but not even actually paying attention to it. But yeah, in some scenarios, it can be very upsetting. It's like, well, I put my heart and soul into this caption, but no one's reading it. And that can be a little bit annoying.
Yeah, I think when you're talking about serious topics, especially because it's not just about the image, and we are judged by the image at the end of the day. For anybody that needs to know, any of you young people watching that needs to know about the ups and downs and all the different things that Mackenzie's doing, please reach out to her on Makenzie Raine on Instagram, and we'll have her Instagram handle. We will also have your son's Instagram handle. And thank you for being here with us today. Thank you for spreading the positivity and talking about your vulnerabilities, because through sharing your vulnerabilities are how people understand that they're not alone. And I think the most important thing is, how do you overcome it, which is what can help people.
Yes.
And stay safe and build a beautiful community that supports you. Please follow us on The Power of Words, and the bands. The Power of Seven is available online. So please go to thepowerofwords.com and stay in touch with us on Instagram. Thank you.